beautiful in your life. With this, a very beautiful good afternoon to our respected guest, Honorable HOD Sir, our Dean of Student Welfare, all the faculty members, and my fellow mates. I welcome you all in this amazing session. Now, I would like to invite our HOD Sir and Dean of Student Welfare Sir for the bouquet. Sir, please come on the stage. Thank you, sir. Well, today we are honored to have Dr.Arvind Tiwari, sir, Independent Financial Advisor and founder of Entrepreneurial Private Limited, Shirley Impacts Private Limited. Dr.Arvind Tiwari obtained his BSc and MSc in Physics from Jamia Millia Islamia and Tech in Microelectronics from Punjab University and PhD from IIT Delhi. He has teaching and research experience of 15 plus years, culminating in 45 plus research publications, books, reports, and citations scored above 4,000. At present, he is founder of two startup companies, that is, Entrepreneurial Private Limited and Shirley Impacts Private Limited. He, in collaboration with ICICI Securities and Prudential, is working as an independent financial advisor. It's an astonishing feeling to have you in between us, sir. I would like to invite you on the stage to enlighten us all with your amazing words on entrepreneurial journal ideas to execution. Let's welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think my quiz में ज़्यादा जरूरत पड़ेगी नहीं. We are very good in say company and as far as okay, so I guess everyone must have their own ideas about what startup and entrepreneurship is all about. Am I right? Yes, sir. So how many of you have actually thought of some ideas?
थक जाओगे तो मेरे पास.
Anything to work on? Just one? That's a strange. सबको आइडिया कुछ ना कुछ तो होता ही है, right? Something जो कि लीग से अलग हो, जो चल रहा है उससे अलग हो, नहीं? Few more hands. Okay, by the way, let's say you might be in the engineering or MBA or some other stream, right? कितने लोग ये डिग्री करना चाहते हैं खुद से? Very few hands. So what about the rest of the people? कुछ और करना चाहते, right? और जो ये भी करना चाह रहे थे BTech, MBA and others, उसमें भी they are most probably looking for solutions, है ना? कि वो क्या कर सकते हैं और नहीं, right? तो कितने ऐसे लोग हैं जो वो चीज़ें कर सकते हैं या सोच रहे हैं करने को after their graduation, after graduating from your BTech or MBA, something of your own? Just two people, not more. Okay, never mind. But since this topic is about how to go on about it, all right. Of course, it looks very exciting, very say glamorous as well. That having a startup company of your own, the so-called being the boss, all right. That excites a lot, all right. But of course, it has its own pitfalls, drawbacks, and other points to put on. But further, let's see what exactly you must have before you actually start. Alright? From ideas to execution. Alright? Sooner or later, everyone must have those ideas to work on, or going thought that अच्छा इसके ऊपर भी काम करके देख सकते हैं. Now the first question which comes in, do you face any problems, challenges in your day-to-day routine? How many people say yes for this particular point? Raise your hands. Daily routine में आप लोग को कोई प्रॉब्लम आती है कि नहीं आती? कोई कहीं पे भी? It could be of any kind, not just necessarily engineering. So if you are facing any kind of a problem, that should be your starting point. Alright? Because that's the problem which if you address, because if you are facing it, definitely others are also facing. Okay? अगर आप एक क्लास में एक प्रॉब्लम फेस कर रहे हैं, alright, multiply that by thousands of classes across India, you have your already a ready-made customer. Right? So if you are able to provide a solution to that particular problem जो आप फेस कर रहे हैं, okay? And if you are able to bring a creative solution which could be monetized as well, तो आपका कस्टमर बेस रेडी. आपको सिर्फ रेस्ट ऑफ द चीज़ों के ऊपर काम करना है कि कैसे उसको सॉल्यूशन क्रिएट किया जाए एफिशिएंट एंड देन उसको मोनेटाइज. Once you are able to do that, you have your own company, your own startup, your own boss, right? Okay, so let's go about seeing that part. So one always confused about what is a business owner and what's a startup or an entrepreneur, right? The prime difference is when you are talking of so when you are say thinking of entrepreneurship, initially or essentially as well, it should have a breakthrough solution to a problem which doesn't exist for now. Otherwise, you are into the business only, right? Something which already exists and you are also doing it, maybe with new name, with a new process, with something new, alright? But essentially you are doing the business, not a startup kind of a stuff. So this is how a basic entrepreneurial journey looks like, that you need to have the idea, just like I said, look for the problems wherever you are facing it, in whatever way it might be, and it doesn't have to be very technical also, it could be a non-technical problem, alright, but problem is a problem. Once you are able to identify the problem, the rest is about finding the solution and monetizing. Okay, of course easier said than done, but still, you have your first step here, how to identify or what to solve, right? The next is the research. Without that, everything is going to be useless. So understanding the product or services, the solution which you are going to offer. Okay? Then educating yourself is very fundamental. Even if you have growth, even if you have a good business, good numbers, don't stop yourself educating. Right? The moment you do this, it's just a matter of time that your business or your startup is going to flourish. Next is the funding, the idea itself, alright? Unless you are not able to monetize it, alright? And after monetizing also, you need to have a growth trajectory. That is how to scale, how to make it big, alright? These two things are very important to get a good amount of funding or a decent funding to begin with, alright? Else you will have to rely on your own cash flow systems, your own support from family and friends and so on. Then team building. If it is depending on the problem itself, whether you do require a team or not, that could change things. But believe me, when we say team building, it's a very essential thing for your process. दुनिया में भी ऐसा कोई process नहीं है, when the so-called solopreneurs, they also need people. Alright? So the moment you interact with anyone other than yourself, you are essentially building a team. You may not be directly paying them as part of the salary, but definitely something in cash or coin in one way or another. You are supporting them. So essentially you are working with a set number of people, which nothing is but your team. Alright? So team building is also an important part. We'll see how team building is what other part constitutes team building. And then of course the growth trajectory, as I said, that is unless it is scalable, unless you can grow out of your regular customer base, if you are not able to think of the innovative ways or solution, or say bring another clientele into your customer base, then you are most probably going to face a problem. Then before the journey, even before, you must have the starting point, you have got the solution also. But even before you start executing, know yourself, just like know your customer. The same way you have to know about yourself, how and what you are. Right? First of all, of course, is you have to find out the strength. Whenever you are doing anything, you need to know your strength. Strength not just in terms of the solution, but which part of the solution your strength lies. Alright? The solution could be a technical one. So if it is technical, so what part of technical you are good at? Alright? The rest you have to outsource. Alright? Similarly, if it is non-technical, then how good you are in that particular non-technical solution, or which part of it. The rest again you have to outsource. Outsource doesn't necessarily mean out of your company, it could be part of your team. Right? But someone other than you. So once you know your strength, then rest of the thing you have to find the people who can help you build up those things. And even more so important is the weakness, things which you cannot do. Alright? There is a difference between things which you cannot do and things which you don't want to do. Alright? So most of the time, rather 99% of the time, you will be finding yourself you don't want to do. Okay? But that's not an excuse for, say, not delivering the solution. Right? So you have to overcome that part also. Alright? You have to kill that urge कि आज लेने देते हैं, कल करते हैं या शाम को करते हैं. This kind of attitude is never going to help as far as your growth part is concerned. Not just as a business or an entrepreneur, even as a student, right? You must have felt कि अच्छा भी काम तो परसों है, कल पढ़ते हैं. But the more you delay that particular aspect, the more trouble you are in, right? So you have to work on that particular part to improve upon, so that the solution which you have already thought of, which can be monetized also, should not get delayed, right? There is something called first mover's advantage. It is for the same purpose only. कि जो सबसे पहले मार्केट में solution लेके आएगा for any problem, okay, he will have that, right? So it's nothing but you are only delaying that particular advantage. क्योंकि जैसे मैंने अभी पहले का जो प्रॉब्लम आपको बोली, 1000 और लोगों को, उन 1000 लोगों में से जो पहले ले आया, you will have that edge. So you have to think of your competition in that, right? So the more you think and work on that part, of course, that urge will subside by itself, right? But unless you don't do that, it won't happen. The next is the behavior, alright? Irrespective of whether you are developing an app or any, say, being an introvert person, you don't want to communicate with people, or your behavior towards, let's say, different categories of people, you have to keep it in check, right? Because you are providing solution which can be monetized, right? So unless you are not able to have a good relation with different categories of people, it's very difficult. Whatever good kind of solution you have, even the people facing the problem even won't buy, just because of the behavior part. Alright? This is just a small liners which I am telling. It requires detailed thorough discussion in itself. Okay? Then the commitment itself. Even though, just like I said, the urge, you have to keep it in check. Alright? Whether it is 8, 9, if a work has to be done, it has to be done. Whether you do it by yourself or you take help of others. So commitment, not just to yourself, to the solution, but also to the customer. Alright? Most of the time, we always take a very, say, easy way out as far as commitment to ourselves. For customers, everyone is committed. But the moment it comes to us, that, अच्छा, ये तो मैं कल को देना है, तो शाम को देना. The moment it happens, you don't have control over the time. Alright? हो सकता है 2 बजे आप वहाँ बैठे हैं, 3 बजे, but 5 बजे क्या होने वाला है, 8 बजे क्या होने वाला है, it can't predict. So if it has to be done, and you know that it has to be delivered, so do it as early as possible. So the more faster you do develop this approach, the better chances you have of survival and success. Then coming to the idea, the basic one-liner solution I've already given. Look for the problems. The moment you are able to identify problem, that would be your first idea. Doesn't matter if it is $1 million idea or not. An idea is an idea. Even if it is ₹100 idea, make it work. Alright? Because say it's not just about the idea, but also the execution, which plays a very critical role in the success. Right? Someone might be having very brilliant ideas and notes. You might be able to capitalize on it. You might be able to execute it as well. But doesn't necessarily mean it will be success forever. Alright? Nokia came with game mobile phones way back than smartphones came. Right? Way back before even the apps were developed. But they were before the time. Alright? So that also matters. Whether you are able to educate your customers about your solution or not. If you are not able to educate your customer, whatever mechanisms you have developed, solution, however efficient, good it is, the success cannot do that. Alright? So these are some of the things which you can ask to yourself about the ideas, where is the problem, what solution is going to solve, what kind of money it can generate. Alright? So those kind of things you can evaluate by yourself, and that should help. Then of course research not just about the product or the service, but also about the market. That is, which people are going to be your customer, who would be paying you for that, right? जैसे आपने memes और shorts में देखे होंगे ना, take my money, the same kind of thing, right? So you have to develop that people should come to you, take my money. Create a solution so that people come to you. Okay? That approach is going to be more beneficial than, let's say, you create a solution and then you go to the people. Alright, so it has to be that amazingly developed. Then of course you have to keep it in mind about the laws and regulation without breaking anything. Of course, as you might have seen in contemporary scenarios as well, whether it is ride sharing or other things, delivery, ride sharing, so 15,000 people have become jobless. Right? So you have to keep in check whatever solution you are bringing. Is it within the laws at that particular time or not? Unless, of course, you are able to modify those laws, have the influence to get those laws modified as per your. Till then, you have to work within the laws. Right? Don't forget. Then, of course, as I said, you have to do the research and educate yourself. Not just in terms of the product or service or the solution which you are giving, but also with respect to different laws about the different marketing techniques. You have to work on the processes of your solution in the systems which you are going to develop for that particular solution. The finance, the important part again, is how to develop relations so that you get a funding. Your solution is good enough so that you get support from different private equity investors or venture capital or from Startup India funds or some government. Alright? So you need to have the understanding and the knowledge of those processes. Alright? And same thing goes with the funding part. You have to educate yourself about different funding, different processes. And another important part which most of the times it's either over or above, always, that is how much money you want. Right? Even I also get founded sometimes. Because it's very difficult to estimate. If it is a normal business setup, then it's very easy to identify how much money you need and where it will go and what kind of result it will provide. But the moment you are into the entrepreneur or a startup frame, there it's very difficult to quantify. So you go on some basic thumb rules, basic industry standards, and then based on those numbers, you try to have a decent number to ask for as a part of the funding. Okay? So quantification of the funding is very critical to understand. Then again, team building is said, even though this is just 6 particular blocks which requires for any startup to begin with. Alright? So, and of course, you cannot be good in all the 6 parts. And even if you are good, you cannot execute those 6 parts within 24 hours. And it's not even 24, it's hardly 12 or 18. Okay? So you need to have 6 more people besides you, alright, in the team to begin with when you have the solution ready to execute. Then of course for each of these teams you have to develop your own system, or you have to have the systems which are already in place, say buy those systems and then work on it or modify it as per your own requirement. Then growth trajectory is also equally important. Without this, no amount of good solution, good financing can actually work. Alright. So if you have thought of that, how to make it grow big not just with respect to your customer base. So there are two ways primarily. एक तो वही जो आपने सॉल्यूशन सोचा वो आपको पता है कि 100 और लोगों को, इसके अलावा आपने 200 और लोगों का आपको ये प्रॉब्लम है, यूज अवर प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस. ऑलराइट. So in that way you must know how to grow your product or service. If you are not clear about it, then go to an idea where you are clear about. Because without this, no amount of funding from anywhere is going to come to you. Right? And whatever funds you have from your family and friends, that's going to run dry very soon. Right? So this you can say is kind of just like after the graduation. You know what is you are going to do after graduation, either job or higher study, right? You are clear about it. So your growth trajectory is already stipulated. You have already envisioned. In the same way in the business world, whatever solution you are bringing, you know that how you are going to do. Alright? So that's a brief of all this presentation. Any questions? हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हो, ऐसे हिंदी की अंग्रेजी में पूछ सकते हो. I mean, this answer time. किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है? That's a strange. या तो समझ में नहीं है या बहुत समझ में आ गया. प्लीज.
सर कभी कभी शेड्यूल रहता है सर क्लासेस वगैरह का, और टाइम बचता है किसी अदर चीज पर ध्यान दे पाए. घर से तो आए तो काफी छड़ेंगे, ये भी करेंगे, ये भी करेंगे, ध्यान देंगे. बट ऐसा है मतलब कि लिमिटेड हो गया है टाइम. यहाँ से जाने के बाद जो है सर क्लासेस करने के बाद सर असाइनमेंट वगैरह पढ़ना है, घर में बात करना है, वीकेंड वगैरह. बट उसके बाद कोई टाइम बच नहीं रहा, जिसको क्या कुछ भी नहीं कर पा रहे हैं उसके.
वेरी मच ट्रू, अंडरस्टैंडेबल. वो स्टोरी ये प्रॉब्लम सभी के साथ ही हुआ है. टाइम कम है, जब 24 घंटे ही है. रिलेटिव सभी के पास 24 घंटे ही है, 2500 घंटा किसी के पास. And that's where comes time management and the priority. Alright? And apart from that, there are two approaches to it. अभी आप कितने साल के? 20-22 साल के, है ना? और आप सेकेंड थर्ड ईयर में मोस्ट फर्स्ट ईयर होगी, राइट? तो आप यहाँ पे 20-22 साल में पहुँच गए. पैदा होकर कोई नहीं पहुँचा. It has taken you 20 years plus to reach this particular spot, right? तो 20 years आपने डेली कुछ किया तब आप यहाँ पहुँचे. So 20 years down the line अगर आप डेली कुछ कर रहे हैं तो कहाँ पहुँचे? So why just play a short game? T20 भी होता है, 5 day series भी होता है, right? It's about how much time you are getting, how you can optimize and where your goal lies, right? मैंने छोड़ने के लिए नहीं कहा है, but optimize करने के लिए कहा है, goals shift करने के लिए आगे पीछे. And of course you can be good in your education also. राइट, उसी में से कुछ सॉल्यूशन निकाला है, बहुत कौन. अभी आप लेट्स से फर्स्ट ईयर सेकंड ईयर में होंगे, तो अभी फाइनल ईयर प्रोजेक्ट्स भी होंगे आपके, राइट. स्टार्ट वर्किंग विद दैट कि फाइनल ईयर प्रोजेक्ट ऐसा बनाओ जो कि कमर्शियलाइज उसके बिजनेस सॉल्यूशन बनाए, आपके सारे गोल्स अलाइन हो, राइट. इट्स ऑल अबाउट वेदर यू वांट और नॉट, राइट. इट्स ऑल अबाउट योर सेल्फ, राइट. अभी मैंने सबसे पहले वही कहा, नो योरसेल्फ. अगर आप कमिटेड नहीं हैं, राइट, सो यू विल ऑलवेज हैव वन थिंग और अनदर एज एन एक्सक्यूज. अगर आप कमिटेड हैं तो आप एक्सक्यूज खुद को ही नहीं लो. फॉरगेट अबाउट दैट. यू विल बी कमिटेड टुवर्ड्स योर ओन गोल्स, तो आपको द लाइफ लॉन्ग भी, राइट. सो दैट्स वन वे टू गो अबाउट. और आपको दूसरा कहीं भी नहीं. सो द चॉइस इज ऑल योर्स, नथिंग.